Good morning, I'm Jaden.
And I'm Bryn, and welcome to another edition of Bird's Eye News, featuring stories from all across Cardinal Nation.
Here are this week's top stories.
An animation teacher gets a little help from a Hollywood director.
And robotics returns to state competition with a marketing team worthy of its award-winning build.
Bird's Eye News starts
now. Years ago, animation teacher Dustin Clark forged a friendship with Chris Pern, co-director of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. Today, Pern helps Clark steer the course. Here's Ron and Mason with more.
The animation class here at Melissa High School is a class where students learn the fundamentals and techniques of animation from teacher Dustin Clark, a published author of illustrated children's books. He is not alone, however. Recently, Clark's former teacher Chris Pern, co-director of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, has been helping teach the class as well.
So he gave me a bunch of advice and feedback, things like, he said spend time just watching movies and seeing what students like and what they don't like, talking about it, so I've applied that to my classes.
Clark had met Pern during his college years, taking one of his classes himself.
So I took his storyboarding class online when I was finishing up college. And then when I got my master's degree in creative writing for film, television, and video games, we had to interview somebody from the film industry. And I had messaged him a few times on Facebook, so we had a great interview and kind of started a friendship that way.
Pern has also helped with the class in the past, especially with the animation team's UIL program.
Well, we didn't even have a finished final film. Like, we had storyboards and we had character designs and we had a script, but it wasn't all put together and finished. One of the problems was he said I was trying to be like the director of the film, and he told me to move that role to the students. So I became like a producer, and the student became the director. They became in charge of their own film, and it helped them be motivated to take it to a finish.
Clark's students have expressed positive feedback about the lessons with Pern, and they also said he had a great personality.
I thought it was really cool to learn from like a professional on how to do stuff, and it really seemed like he knew what he was doing and he was good at teaching.
He was a really kind person. He's very personable too. He kind of shares his own personal struggles that are very, very relatable to young artists like us. He kind of showed us how drawings don't need to be complex to get a point across, so it's really like simplified my drawing down, so I don't need to be panicking the whole time just to get a simple drawing done.
The robotics team has always relied on the strength of its designers and builders. This year, the rise in its sales force may make the difference at state. Here's Jackson and Samuel with more.
The best competition, the gauntlet of robotics, an intense process.
The number of steps can be, almost infinite, because you can always go back to the drawing board and try to redesign.
The process can be very long and complex. Everything needs to be thoroughly tested, but the process works. The past 3 years, Melissa Robotics has been state finalists, and this year they have a game plan to take home the championship.
At the competition, they grade you on how closely you follow the design process. They critique you if you leave out important details.
So robotics is in fact divided up into different teams. In particular, we have a build team and we have a presentation team.
Each student specializes in their own fields for both teams.
Benny's really good at Autodesk, so long as Benny has the time, Benny will help the team tremendously.
Corbin Poole and Aaron Lester are very proficient in building the robot and making the energy flow. They're both the robot and the team.
I've kind of made my way as the captain of the build team. I design the parts and I make sure that everything is safe in the shop and everything works when it comes out.
In the past, the marketing team has struggled to be on the same level as the engineering team. But Coach Gagarin, the instructor for the robotics team, says this year will be different.
Coach Apollo is going to be in charge of the marketing presentation and the sales and the marketing booth.
Marketing has improved significantly.
Dax Labor, people who are very well-spoken, people who can present very well, and we put them on the marketing team.
All of us on the presentation team are given our slides, our sections of the robot to present, and we use a slideshow and we set up our little booth So at the beginning of anything, there is an idea. We know what the robot's purpose is from the get-go. We know what we're aiming for.
Every year, the robotics teams go under the name of a fictitious company. This year, they went with a very symbolic biblical reference.
Melissa Robotics this year is proud to be branded under the company name of Jericho, a biblical reference to a city with infallible walls that did in fact fall. We have, in years prior, not really branded ourselves. Our focus is to make Melissa Robotics be known as Melissa Robotics, not just a good robotics team, but having a name, an identity, a brand.
At regionals, the robotics team won 3rd overall in the competition and won a superlative for best overall software. The robotics team competes at state through Saturday in Frisco.
Thanks for watching.
See you next week.